Hi, starlings. Sorry. I'm still awkward with my intros. I'll get there eventually. How are you guys doing today? It is Christmas Eve. And I'm filming this, so pardon any disaster you see in my bed. We're still packing. We're going to my mom's. And also, I noticed a lot of people tend to complain about this in other videos. I look at myself when I film, not the camera, so I will try to look there, but I will try. So this is my Cosplay Rewind video, my first one. I guess now's the time where I just kind of go back and talk about my year, I guess, because that's a thing that cosplayers do, and other people, of course. My memory is garbage, so I have my handy dandy notebook here, and I actually just wrote down pretty much everything that happened this year as far as like important stuff, because otherwise I don't remember what happened this year versus last year. Some of these things I'm like, wow, that was this year. Crazy. Anyways, also before I get started, if you guys are interested in me making Cosplay Rewind videos for 2020, 2019, and 2018 as well, I certainly can. Let me know. I will just have to, again, do the notebook thing because, you know, kind of get through. Anyways, so as I'm sure you'll probably hear in everybody else's Cosplay Rewind videos and non-cosplay related ones, just the Rewind videos in general, it's been a weird year. 2020 and 2021 has really just, I mean, same stuff you've heard everywhere. Sorry, I fidget. Same stuff you've heard everywhere else. It has been a rough year. And with everybody, it's rough in different ways. I definitely think the hardest part for me this year, I'll get to it later, but the hardest part for me this year was walking out of a 3.5-year relationship. And even harder than that was realizing that it wasn't working, there wasn't anything I could do to keep it working. So we'll get to that later. I don't want to talk too much about it because it's not cosplay related, it's personal, etc. and drama. You know, I don't want to bring, you know, personal life drama into my cosplay stuff, you know, whatever. January started a move. I moved into an apartment with my now ex. It was the first time of us living together by ourselves, so that was relatively exciting, and honestly it was from roughly that point on throughout the rest of the year that I kind of realized it wasn't working, etc., but I just kept trying. As soon as we moved, I say a lot too, I'm gonna work on that. As soon as we moved, I was trying to prepare for virtual anime Milwaukee, which I kind of attended, not really. I was gonna compete and then I just didn't because I was under so much stress I couldn't really finish. I was gonna work on Nightmare Rarity, and I didn't really get her where I wanted to in order to compete with, so I just never did. Otherwise, that was in February. After that, my next focus was Ultimate Online Cosplay Championship. I was going to compete, I think first, my plan was Urza, Heaven's Wheel, which I'm still currently working on. And after that, I was like, okay, Daybreaker. Honestly, the only reason I didn't actually do anything for UOCC was financial reasons. That was one of the biggest things about that relationship that just wasn't working, was the financial stress, because most of the time he didn't have a job. And when he did, his paychecks went 100% to rent or, you know, whatever, and then my checks were for living expenses, cosplay, gas, etc. You know, or if the car broke down, which the vehicle we started the year off with had a lot of issues, and then he crashed it, and just every vehicle we had, you know, this past year has just, you know, and even the car I have right now, it was my mom's old car. Not old, it's not like super old, but it was my mom's car, and I'm fixing it up, like, I swear every week it's something else. So, you know, it's been a financially draining year. But I mean, yeah, like last year, pretty much since March to maybe October, he didn't have a job, so I was still recovering from all the debt that I went into, having to pay for both of us, you know, for both of our living expenses all of last year, so it was just a lot. So I just couldn't really afford a whole lot of cosplay supplies, and there was so much obviously I would need to order for Urza or Daybreaker or whomever I competed with. I just couldn't, you know? So ultimately it didn't work out, but that's okay. After that, we have Fantasy Bakugo. Now this has been on quite the journey. It started out as a commission for my old we're not friends anymore, my old best friend's boyfriend. He wasn't in, he's not, I think he's into My Hero Academia now, but at the time he wasn't. But my friend wanted him to wear it. Like, she was like, oh, you know, I'd love if you, you know, cosplay this character, etc. Blah, 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 blah. And he was all for it. He's like, yeah, you know, this outfit looks really cool, you know, whatever. So I started making it. He gave me the money. I gathered supplies, started working on the beads. You know, here's an old photo. And then they broke up. And then he no longer wanted it because they broke up. And the only reason he wanted it was because she wanted him to wear it. And I was like, great. Now what do I do? So I gave him a partial refund, and that's what we agreed on. And then it just kind of sat in a box for the longest time. And then my little sister started getting into My Hero Academia, and she cosplayed Bakugo for Halloween in a My Hero Academia group with her friends. And I was like, hey, do you want this? And she was like, yo. So I started making it for her. And she got to wear part of it to her birthday party, her 14th birthday party this year. And now I'm still working on it. Like, I think, oh gosh. I think the only thing I need to finish is the knee pads, the pauldron, and the bracer. I'm pretty sure that's all I have left to finish. Otherwise, there's always, okay, so everyone has those fandoms where it sometimes just gets ruined for them, and My Hero Academia is that fandom of my sister. Unfortunately, she's no longer in the fandom. The fans ruined it for her, you know, the toxic fans, you know, the toxic ships between Bakugo and Deku or Uraraka, and like just the people who ship them toxically, you know? And if you don't ship them, you're wrong, that kind of stuff. It ruined it for her, so now she's not really into it anymore, so she no longer wants to cosplay this character, and I'm like, now what do I do with this cosplay? But she says her friend wants it, so oh my god. Eventually, Fantasy Bakugo will be finished and wearable on someone. Not me, but someone, because by the stars, I've made it this far, it's almost done, somebody's gonna wear it. I would rather not. I don't hate Bakugo, but I don't love him, but for the crying out loud, I'm hoping to find someone to give it to because I don't want to wear it. Anyway, so that's that. This is the stage that Bakugo is in now, and it's just, he's going somewhere. Where? I don't know yet, but he's going somewhere. So anyways, after that we've had, I started working on different outfits for Babe, Puppet. Sorry, I message, I was reading it. So I got into the puppets in 2019. Artwork by Savannah Alexander, and I fell in love with them because they're cute. How can you not love them? And Babe, or BB, however you pronounce it, Babe, BB. I mean, looking at her character description, I just felt like she was written for me, you know? The only thing that we don't have in common is that she doesn't like vegetables, and I love vegetables. But otherwise, I mean, Siberian Huskies have been my favorite breed of dog since I was in elementary school, if not sooner. I've always loved Siberian Huskies. You know, she's gothic, I'm gothic, our personality traits match up, hobbies match up, you know. I love hiking, I love being outdoors, all that kind of stuff. So it's just, I just felt such a connection to this character, and I absolutely love it. And yeah, so I started doing her loungewear, which is still not done. I started it and I just got really super insecure, so I just stopped. But I have all the pieces in this. Actually, the box is sitting right here. BB's box is right here. But yeah, so I still have the pieces. I just got really insecure about you know, not only myself, because I'm always insecure about myself. Not only insecure about myself, but just my skill set in general. I just got really depressed, and like that was a reoccurring theme this past year, was just not feeling worth it, and not really like feeling my skill set, like I'm not good enough to cosplay, like I can't do this, etc. And my ex didn't help at all, so it was just a lot of stuff. Now April came, April Fool's Day obviously, and there was the cosplay April Fool's prank of PajamaCon, and I wanted so bad to be a part of it that I just threw together this pajama rarity and just said, well, I'm not technically a part of PajamaCon, but here's, you know, I sort of am, because it just seems so fun. The skirt, like the purple dress part, I didn't make that. That was just my maxi skirt that I got for my teacher rarity. And then like I just like whipped together the white little ruffles, and I have the blue bow is also from my teacher rarity, and I just like threw it all together and voila. So it was, I mean, it was kind of fun though. It was really fun seeing all the other, oh, my skin is so dry. I hate winter. Ugh. Really fun seeing all the other cosplayers, you know, and what they were doing. What's next? Easter. Oh goodness, April and Easter. You know, I have the same problem with Easter that I do with Earth Day. I always have these big plans, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do this really awesome photo shoot. It's gonna be great. But I never remember to actually start buying the materials, buying the props, booking the photo shoot, making the cosplay, or at least assembling it if I don't want to make it. I never remember to do any of that until the week before the day. So it never works out because I'm dummy thick, and it just, I told you guys, my memory is garbage. That's why I have everything written in here, so I know what to talk about. Yeah, but I had a pinup Easter Bunny photo shoot planned, because I started getting into pinup a lot this year. And I woke up that day and I just did not feel good. Feminine problems, yay being a woman. So I just took a couple of selfies instead, but next year, as long as the weather is nice, I plan on doing something, you know, better. May the 4th, I did do something rather special for May the 4th. Now, again, I did forget until about a week beforehand. Like, I honestly think it was like 8-9 days before the 4th of May. So I Amazon Primed my bodysuit, which kind of fit, as you can see on pictures where my hands were, like the glove part of the bodysuit, like instead of like the webbing between your fingers or whatever you want to call it, instead of it coming all the way down here, it came to like up here. You know, it was just kind of weird, but otherwise it was fine. It worked. I made it work. Whipped together this really crappy looking swimsuit, because I didn't know what else to do, and I grabbed my parasol and couldn't find my ear cones. Why? I do not know. They're always with my Leiku. They're with my Leiku now in my Twi'lek box, but where they were then, I do not know. And yeah, we just went over to a river and did a couple of photos. So it wasn't bad, could be better, whatever. Ooh. And then I had my first Patreon exclusive shoot for like a Slytherin type deal. Alright. Here's the thing. When I started my Patreon back up this year, I didn't want to do Patreon. And I actually, getting into pinup, it tends to be borderline risque. So I actually, what I wanted to do was do an OnlyFans or some other site like that where I can, you know, upload these not quite boudoir photos, but some of them might be, you know, pinup boudoir kind of a deal. That's something I kind of sort of want to get into, but again, my ex was not supportive of this at all, and he flat out said that if I got an OnlyFans, he would assume I'm sending nudes to other people, and it was just not a good time. And like, no matter how, like, this was just a trait that he had that I couldn't get rid of, and he couldn't get rid of, and no matter how many times I tried to work around and be like, hey, you're always obviously welcome to look at everything, it was just not a good time. So he suggested a Patreon, and I said I really didn't want a Patreon because that has multiple tiers. I just want this one thing, you know, and he was like, oh, you know, make it work, and I just really didn't want a Patreon, and I still don't, and I feel bad because I rarely post there. I have one patron, shout out to you, Paris Cosplays, I love you, and I keep forgetting, you know, I feel so horrible because I keep forgetting to do the rewards and everything because that's just not what I wanted. I can't put my mental energy to it because it's not what I wanted to invest my energy in. So I'm probably already going to be disbanding my Patreon because I just don't want it. Whether or not I start up something else. I do not know. You guys, I mean, you're more than welcome to suggest things. Ko-Fi now has subscription type deals, so maybe I'll do pinup shoots for my Ko-Fi. I don't know. OnlyFans tends to get a little bit of a bad reputation, so we'll see. We'll see what the stars have in mind for me, but as of right now, I will most likely be disbanding my Patreon and figuring something else out. Let's see. Ooh, yes, and then another really cool achievement. I finally got my first 3D printer. His name is Castiel, and I love him very much. Not much has been done with him yet. I will be printing things for Sailor Pluto, Nightmare Rarity, Daybreaker, Urza, different Urza armors. I plan on printing her swords and everything for Heaven's Wheel and all that. So yeah, so far, nothing, but there will be more. And I did talk about, throughout the year, wanting to do Twitch streams while I 3D model things. I am still getting the hang of 3D modeling. It's not really my forte, but I am working on it. So once I get the hang of it, I will have Twitch streams where I do, 3D model things and all that good stuff. Let's see. Punk Rarity! Oh, so excited! I started this in October of 2020, and I mean, I've wanted to do it since I saw the outfit in the episode, because punk, hello. But it's been a really fun time. It's been a crazy time, but it's been really fun. The materials are definitely really expensive. I haven't started the wig yet. Well, okay, yes I have. I've straightened it. I started to heat set it because I have to heat set the fibers to switch, because it has a center. The wig has a center part right now, and I need to switch it to have a different, just slightly off center. So I've started to heat set it. I've basically got a very basic start to it. I haven't gotten very far yet. And the vest I've gotten, I would say I'm about halfway done. Most of that is Patreon exclusive. And here's the thing, here's like the one push I have to keeping my Patreon, is that like I have this really bad luck where I'm working on a cosplay and it's going great, and then as soon as I start publicly posting it, everything goes wrong, or I don't get it done in time, or this happens. Like literally everything is fine until I start posting pictures of it on social media, and then something goes wrong and I have to trash the entire thing. And it's so upsetting. And like that actually happened, the black velvet dress that I'm making for my Christmas Sailor Pluto happened with this too. Everything was going great, and then I posted a progress picture of it on Instagram, and there's a big bump now, and I'm like, crap, what do I do? I know how to get around it, but it's not gonna be fun. So a part of me is like, all right, maybe I'll just wait for a second, take a breather, order more fabric, and this will be like a New Year's thing. It doesn't have to be Christmas. I don't care, personally. It's not red and green, it's black and white. So I might just make it like a winter thing in general, or I might just make it like a look for Black Cat instead. But we'll get there. So yeah, like that's one of my main pushes to keep Patreon. It's that way I can still post work in progress pictures, but privately, because like I said, as of right now I only have one patron, so it's not as bad, but I'm such a paranoid human being. I'm always paranoid about jinxing things. Like, that's why if you know me in real life, I'm constantly like, well, I don't want to jinx it, but because that's why. But anyway, so yeah, it's been frustrating, but I'll get there. So Lunar Lights Con, I would like to talk about that. That was supposed to be a little get-together with my best friend Destiny, who I've known since my junior year of high school, so 7-ish years now. She lives in Maryland. She was gonna fly down for the weekend, and we had all these cosplays we were gonna do together, and everything was gonna be great, but holy heck, we didn't take in consideration, all these flight problems people are having due to short staffing because of COVID. So like basically a lot of what's going on is that flight attendants or whoever is doing the cancellations, people are having to cancel flights because there isn't enough staff to staff the flights, and that's what happened. First of all, she got there early, and then her first original flight had left early, like a whole hour early, so that was an absolute mess. And then her second one took her to another state for a layover. Everything was fine, and then that third flight got canceled. That was the third flight that was supposed to take her to Madison. that got canceled, and so then she was stuck like 9 hours away from home, 8-9 hours away from home. Her mom had to come get her. It was really frustrating, and I was on the phone with, you know, service, guest service, you know, whatever, customer service. I was like, okay, is there anything we could do? What are some other flights? And they're like, oh, there's one that'll leave soon and take her to Milwaukee. Oh nope, that flight just left. And I was like, okay. Otherwise, the only other option was to put her on a flight that would take her to Texas just to come to Madison, Wisconsin. And I was like, okay, book her for the flight for now, like put her on there, and then I'll go talk to her. And if anything else, if she doesn't want to do that, I will take her off the flight. And that's what ended up happening. She was like, which understandably so, she didn't want to go to Texas just to come to Wisconsin, because what if she goes to Texas and then that flight got canceled? So it was a lot of stress. She ended up coming down, but one of these, she'll make it down eventually. One of these times I'm just gonna have to take like a week off, drive to Maryland, pick her up, drive back to Wisconsin, have her be here for a few days, drive back to Maryland, drop her off, and then come back to Wisconsin again. It'll be worth it, but it'll be a lot, so we'll figure it out. But yeah, so that was upsetting, but what can you, there's not really anything you can do about it. So let's see what's next. Again, I apologize that I'm having to look at my notes. If it bothers you, I'm sorry, but Christine Dye has been a cosplay that I've been working on for 2 years? Question mark? Working on it on and off. When I took, this is for, this cosplay is for Vessel of Blood. When I initially took on this project, I was not ready. I did not have the skill set, and I still not necessarily don't, because this corset is really kicking my arse. So yeah, it kept getting postponed initially when I first talked to Vessel about making it for her. And I kept panicking because as you guys know, I have severe cosplay OCD. If it's not exact, I don't want any part of it, and I hate that, because the brocade, first of all, the hardest part about this cosplay has been that there have been 2 replicas of this cosplay made for the video. One of them, the robe has a ruffled chiffon trim. The other one has lace, and a ruffled lace, and it's incredibly difficult. So I'm like, okay, which one do I go for? In one of them, the robe is much more opaque, like a chiffon. The other one, it's not quite as opaque. One of them is pure blinding white. The other one is more ivory colored, and it's just been such a pain in the stars. And it's been crazy. I've been going crazy trying to find the perfect trims for the robe and trying to find the perfect brocade for the corset, which I couldn't, so I just used, you know, every fabric, every trim, every brocade, everything that I've gotten for this cosplay, I have sent to Vessel and asked her opinions on first. So I'm not just getting all of these, I'm asking her opinions first. She wanted a more ivory instead of pure white, so that I got an ivory color for the corset. The satin for the skirt is ivory, and then I have a white lace on top for the white chiffon underneath. So it's been quite the trip. And as far as the corset goes, the only corset pattern, I have looked and looked and looked, the only corset pattern that I've been able to find that is, you know, an overbust in that style is historically accurate, and I had no idea how complicated it was going to be to make. This has been quite exhausting, and I'm not against drafting my own patterns, but I don't want to draft a pattern for somebody that lives in New York. I can't do any fittings, you know, kind of like that. So right now the agreement is that I'm going to send it to her as is, and she's going to try everything on. The corset obviously is unfinished, but part of the problem with the corset pattern is the sizing is kind of weird. So she has much smaller measurements than I do, and I was like I made half the corset, and then I, you know, held it up like this, and all of a sudden the bust is very large. So I'm like, that is not gonna fit her, even though this was cut to her measurement. So the corset has been the hardest part easily. Another issue is that the skirt, shortly before I left my ex, I had it out on my mannequin as I was working on it, and I came home from work one day and there was this humongous brown stain on the skirt, and instantly panicked. Of course, my ex denied doing anything, but now I'm to the point where I'm like, okay, did he do something? Because I definitely didn't. I was at work all day. It was not like this when I left last night, kind of a deal. But the thing was, the stain was only on the lace of the skirt. It wasn't on the satin. it was only on the lace. So I don't know what happened, but I've been trying to get it out, and it's pretty much gone. But I'm gonna take like a Tide stick and like just kind of bleach the area. It's pretty much pretty faded. I can barely notice it, but it's there, you know. And I just want, you know, I don't want it to give her anything less than perfection, is kind of what I'm getting at. I'm to the point where I might just remake the skirt, but I don't want to do that, you know. So it's been, you know, it's been one thing after another, you know. This isn't working for this reason, this isn't working for that reason. I got this one trim in for the robe, and I thought it was gorgeous. It was ruffled chiffon with an overlay of lace, and I thought it was beautiful. But I ordered it from, like, I think I ordered it online from Joann's, and then I grabbed it in my hands, and I was like, ugh, no, wrong texture. It was scratchy, it was itchy, it was painful, and I'm like, nope, not doing that, absolutely not. So I'm still working on it. She's been very kind and very understanding. Thank the stars, because I feel so horrible, but you know, we never agreed on a date or anything, so thankfully that's nice. It's not like she's like waiting on it for anything, but however, I need to, you know, I want to get it out to her. I just don't want to rush it. I don't want to do this, and like, it's been rough. It's definitely been rough. And then that was another example of, as soon as I start posting about it publicly, everything goes wrong. Because I had the progress for corset, the robe, the chemise, and the skirt, and I wasn't posting about it, and it was going perfectly. And then as soon as I started posting about it, that's when I ran into all these problems with the corset. That's when I ran into the staying problem with the skirt. So it's like every time, man, every time. So moving on. What comes next? We got, I did a couple of virtual panels with Lilith and Kokalo this year. You can see them on my channel for virtual fan anime, and like Pinup Con, which I was not expecting, but Pinup actually registered me as a cosplay guest for their convention, which was really, well, I can't say fun because I didn't really do anything, but it was really nice. I was not expecting that at all, so that was cool. Anime Magic in August. I finally have my con vlog up for that. It took me forever to upload, which the reason for that is in the description of the 2-hour game tabletop gaming room video. But yeah, so Anime Magic was a lot of fun. Anime Magic did not require masks for vaccinated individuals. It was optional, so I wore a mask, I think, all of Friday. I didn't wear one Saturday. I think I wore one on and off on Sunday, whereas C2E2, whether you were vaccinated or not, you were required to wear a mask. So yeah, that's why I wore a mask to C2E2, but not all of Anime Magic, was because I know everyone always comes up with excuses, but I'm claustrophobic and I have medical problems where I have seizures and I pass out frequently. That's why C2E2 was really, really rough for me. So yeah, I'm vaccinated, so if I'm not required to wear a mask, I'm not going to, and I'm sorry if that upsets you, but sorry. I just, you know, obviously if somebody asks me to, I absolutely will. You know, if I'm going to the store and they say, hey, put on a mask, I do. If I'm with a friend and they're like, I would appreciate if you wore a mask, I do. I absolutely do. But otherwise, if I can get away with not, I'm not going to, because of my medical problems. Like, I'm actually registering a service dog, or I'm training a service dog for these medical problems, so it's quite intense. After Anime Magic, yeah, so basically cosplays I've been working on and whatnot. Urza's 2 different Urza armors, Nightmare Rarity, Daybreaker, Shy Guy, some Sailor Pluto, and just like a bunch of stuff in general. Blackfire, I'm redoing. I am going to, I think, redo the bodysuit and still finishing the boots. Hoping to finish her and debut her, well, re-debut her, you know, the fixed version at Anime Milwaukee. So that'll be exciting. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Another really big part from this past year was that I took a hiatus. Now, this hiatus was pretty much solely because of the breakup. Okay. So obviously I left my relationship, and it was really hard for me to work on cosplay, because he was pretty much always in the living room, and that's pretty much where I worked on my cosplays, because my cosplay room, I could work on it in there, but my cosplay room was carpeted. So I couldn't lay my fabric out or my EVA foam out on the floor and pin and cut, you know, the stuff on the floor because it was carpeted. So I would come out and do it in the hallway, or I would just sit out in the living room, watch TV while I was like working on stuff, etc. But he was always in the living room, so I didn't want to be. So it was just incredibly rough. And then it got to be unsafe to stay there. And so that's right around that time frame. I also left a very toxic work environment that I've been working at for just under 3 years, like 2 years, 11 months kind of a deal. Around that time frame, I had met Pastel Quartz Cosplay, so Kyle Joker and Cactus Boy. And when it got unsafe to stay where I was, you know, I started staying with them, and that's where I am now. I started staying with them, you know, I would stay here as often as I could, or I would stay with my other friends and whatnot. Basically, after those few occasions where I'm like, I decided that it's not safe to live there, I hadn't stayed a night there since. So it was just a lot, and I couldn't handle the constant jumping around because I wasn't always allowed to bring cosplays to work on, depending on where, like my one friend, I've known her for 10 years now, can't bring cosplay stuff to work on there because her kids, you know, get into it, or, you know, whatever, so it's just a lot. Or my other friend, you know, there's just not room, or this or that. So like, it was just a lot, and I was like, I didn't have any content, I wasn't doing any photo shoots, I was depressed constantly, I didn't want to get up. I went through this very long period of time where I only ate like once a day because that was all I could muster up to do. And it was just a lot of stress, a lot of mental stress and pain, and I just couldn't handle trying to force myself to come up with content for my cosplay account when I didn't have any to give. I wasn't doing photo shoots, I didn't have any progress and everything, so it was just rough. And I was like, I know that it would just be easier if I just boom, hiatus, and let myself relax, because I did progress on Punk Rarity while I was on my hiatus, but I didn't have to worry about continuously posting it to Instagram and all that other stuff. So it was just a lot, and it didn't last as long as I thought it would. It pretty much lasted the entire month of October. And then that's when I did the interview with cosplay artists, which was great. And then I did the witch photo shoot with my friend Maddie, which was also great. But yeah, it was a lot, and sometimes part of me is still like, maybe I should take another one. I feel like I should do something like this at least once, maybe even twice a year, because sometimes it could just be so heckin' stressful, and it just takes a lot out of you. And trying to continuously come up with excessive content can be really stressful. So I'm already a half hour into this, so I'm gonna try my best to just wrap up the rest of the year. But yeah, so let's see, there was the Geekbound Fashion Challenge and FanX that I was supposed to go to, and I was supposed to debut Baby at the Gala for, and I just, again, finances were an issue, my ex was an issue, so I never went, and that took a serious toll on my mental health because I was so upset that I missed this event. I was gonna meet Nisha Collins and everything, and it was just a lot, so I was really upset about that. But yeah, so then I did a photo shoot with Rarity and Vintage Rarity and Vintage Fluttershy with Cactus Boy, and that was fun. And then in that moment I realized that I am retiring that Vintage Rarity dress, and if I want another Vintage Rarity ensemble, I'll just make a new one, but that one is officially retired. I've worn it a few times and it doesn't really fit up here anymore. So that's a thing. And then we had November, which came with the downfall of DaishoCon. Very upsetting. Daisho was my first convention. I went with people I'm no longer friends with and people that I do still talk to, and I went with family, and it was just, that was actually, boop, that giant Entei, or not giant, that Entei plushie right there, that's where I got him, was Daisho, and it was amazing. Yeah, it's really upsetting to hear that they're no longer moving forward. It's extremely depressing, and like, I know a lot of us are planning on doing cosplay meetups and photo shoots the weekend before Thanksgiving, pretty much every year, because the weekend before Thanksgiving was always when Daisho was, so a lot of us are planning to do that. I know obviously I am, and it's, yeah, so very upsetting, but that's happened a lot with the pandemic. Like, there are a lot of businesses and a lot of fun things that have just gone boop, bye-bye, and not really much you can do about it. It's upsetting, but we were never prepared for a situation like this, so what can you do? moving forward, it's definitely not the highlight of my my year was my account getting hacked. Yay! Here's what frustrates me. Facebook owns Instagram, and Instagram has zero security. Facebook, like, because they tried, the people that it was those Bitcoin people, so please unfollow this account and only follow that account. They tried getting into my Facebook. I'm not even kidding, guys. They were trying to hack my Facebook for 4 hours. I changed my Facebook password 18 times, and then they finally got the hint and stopped, but it was just ridiculous. So yeah, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people are getting their Instagram accounts and Facebook accounts hacked by these Bitcoin people, and Instagram isn't doing anything about it. So I didn't want to make a new cosplay Instagram because that's 3 years and 500 posts of stuff that I don't know if I'm going to repost here or what I'm gonna do with it, but I'll figure something out, I guess. But like I said it in I think 2 or 3 of my posts on my new account, is that I kind of think it was a good thing to start new because there's so much negativity attached to my old account, with old cosplay friends, you know, all that stuff. So it's good to start new and start fresh, and we'll get there, you know? After that we had C2E2, which was fun. My con vlog is up, and that's pretty much it, finally. 35 minutes later, 36. So yeah, I guess let me know if you guys want me to do cosplay rewinds for 2020, 2019, and 2018 as well. I promise it won't be quite as long because I don't remember a whole lot of that happened, so I won't have so much to go over. But even though not much happened this year, a lot happened this year, and there's a lot to cover, so I apologize if this was so long. I'll try to not make the other ones super duper long. I mean, to be fair, I've seen a lot of rewind videos that get to be like the 20 to 40 minute mark, but whichever. Well, if you made it to the end, thank you. And I will see you guys in my next video, which may or may not be up before New Year's. Otherwise, if not, I will see you darlings next year.
I'll jump in really quick, because I forgot to mention that if you follow me on my personal account, actually I think I posted about it on my cosplay account a little bit, I did meet somebody else, and I'm in a new relationship, which is weird to me because I didn't want to be in one so soon. I thought I was gonna be like wait a year or so, but everything happens for a reason, and timing is, you know, I don't know. Time is relative, I guess, but basically, yes, I am in honestly a much better relationship now. He actually supports everything that I do, you know, not even just cosplay, he supports the way I dress without making me feel, insecure, or making me feel like, words I'm not gonna say, I guess, because YouTube, but yeah, it's a lot nicer, so, yeah, I just wanted to say that really quick, because I wanted to make sure I mentioned that, because it is really important to me.